Welcome into the Rowdy Studios with Matt Crossman of the Sporting News.
There's
or is
no
it just Sporting
News? It's just Sporting News. It used to be the. They got rid of the because they didn't want to have to pay for those 3 extra letters.
We lost it in the recession.
Exactly.
It
so
happens to
now
all
it's
of us.
Sporting News.
Buzz Cutler, Bassmasters, talking about Dale Earnhardt Jr. going back to not the site of his last win, but the site of maybe his most memorable win in Daytona.
2001.
2001.
Daytona, the July race. The first race back to Daytona after the tragic death of his father after the Daytona 500.
Definitely one of the most emotionally satisfying, if that's a proper way to put it. It probably isn't, but one of the everybody likes that win.
But I almost got the impression from reading your article, Matt, that it was in some ways more cathartic and emotionally satisfying for the NASCAR fans than for Junior himself. To him, it's like it wasn't really a thing, it seemed.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Certainly for the NASCAR world as a whole, it was, people sort of hesitate to call it cathartic because there's nothing that makes up for what happened to his senior. But if anything was going to make us feel better, it was this. Is kind of how they put it. And Junior kind of said, well, yeah, I guess, but, you know, he doesn't say it's his favorite win, which to me is just shocking. I mean, I think every other driver just about would say, if they were put in a similar situation, they would say that it was. And he says, no, it's not that it's not. It's just that he doesn't think of it that way.
They're all like children that he loves equally well.
That is what he said. That's literally exactly what he said.
Yeah, I don't love my children equally as well.
Which one do you like best?
Well, I'm not going to tell you, but I'll tell them.
Okay, that's messed up. Okay,
so I gotta go.
how have things changed for Junior since? I mean, did he look back at all? I mean, obviously, 2001 to now, 10 years later, things have changed a great deal for this driver.
They have. What I found interesting, watching the videos of that win, is man, that dude he could hide behind Calista Flockhart. He is so skinny, and he had his hat on backwards and the sunglasses, and he was just cocky as hell. And now he's just sort of.
He seems humble now.
Yeah, I think
I'm very likable, not like overly so.
The last however many years have definitely humbled him. I don't think he was cocky in an unlikable way, but he strutted around.
He was young.
Yeah, he was young and acted like it. And now he's old and acts like it.
You know, the thing I remember about that win is Junior and his father pushed Michael Waltrip to victory in the Daytona 500, and then Michael Waltrip pushed Junior to victory.
And then they stood up on the car together.
And it was like, Waltrip didn't really get to celebrate his 500 victory the way he wanted to, and it was almost like this was his celebration win as well.
Yeah. What a just a fascinating turn of events for one to push the other, and the other to push the other one back the next time, and for it to be the same guys, and you couldn't have written it any better.
Yeah. Now, you talked to some other guys, too. You talked to, I know, Mike Helton and Brian France. What were their sort of memories of the win?
Mike Helton said something very interesting. I was actually talking to him at the Hall of Fame thing, and he said what stands out to him was standing in victory lane with Dale Earnhardt Jr., and he said it felt good. And then there was like a brief pause, and he said, and it felt good to feel good. And I thought that basically summed up what everybody said. And I talked to Brian France a little bit too, and he said a little bit of what I said before, that it's not that it was cathartic, it's not that it made you get over it, but it was the closest thing to that.
It's like something went right.
Yeah, something went right. And he talked about the emotions of the fan leaving that place that night was just that's what stuck with him.
And I wonder how big of an impact that moment has had on Junior becoming the most popular driver in the garage. Obviously, a lot of it has to do with the legacy of his father. A lot of it has to do with just Junior's just a likable guy, if you're a race fan. But that moment somehow seemed to capture something, almost catapulted him to superstardom.
Yeah, certainly that was a huge factor. That everybody in the sport, and at that point there was still a lot of new interest in the sport because of what had happened, and so that was a big race in the media. There's a lot of talk about it. And then for him to win it, and it wasn't overly dramatic. It wasn't a last lap pass, but he did have to make a lot of passes at the end, and just blew everyone's doors off. So yeah, that was a huge factor in his sort of emerging success.
Excellent. Very cool. Well, that's Matt Crossman. This story is on both sportingnews.com and in Sporting News the magazine. So check that out, and check out all of our videos as well at rowdy.com.
You know what's really cool about this story too is that you actually captured some of what Junior said. So we could actually play it right now.
Like in Junior's own words?
Yeah, so we could hear Junior saying all the stuff that we were just talking about.
That would be cool.
Yeah, let's do that.
You got to play the he tells a great story about having a skull and crossbone sticker.
Oh, yeah.
That, I think is also an example of why people like him.
All right.
So play that.
We'll play that one.
We'll play that right now. Dale Earnhardt Jr.
we were just kids back then, just goofing around, and somebody gave me a skull and crossbones sticker, and I put it on the desk.
Yeah, I saw that.
Budweiser got mad because it symbolized poison, and it was sitting next to their logo.
Right.
I remember that. Tony Jr. came in halfway through the race, I believe, and told me that they were unhappy with that.
Rowdy.com. Say it like it is.
Say what like it is?
Rowdy.com.